all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters.
These people.
I need blood pressure medication. He like looks and sounds like he's possessed.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson coming at you. Beautiful Monday morning here in Nashville, Tennessee. What's up, Chuck?
You always say beautiful, is it?
We're alive, Charlie, and we're in America.
I forgot you like the cold.
I love cold.
This is like your dream scenario.
It's amazing. We got the ICE thing. There are protests continuing up in Minneapolis right now, so we're going to talk about that. There was a specific instance where protesters stormed a church, or by storming, I mean they entered the church, and my immediate response is, this is why churches should have armed guards. The situation, in my opinion, is disgusting and extremely infuriating, where there were people having church and these protesters that are upset about ICE for whatever reason, because there's a gathering of people, and the point of a protest, Charlie, is to make people uncomfortable.
Oh,
and there's your gathering, and they don't like it when other people, they want to be able to gather and do anything that they want. You can block traffic, you can bother people, you can assault people, do whatever you want to do. Break people's windows, set stuff on fire, any kind of stuff you want to do, beat people to death with skateboards, anything that you want to do. But if you see other people gathering for something that's not your cause, well, they're either with you or they're against you. And in that case, they're not with, they're in there. Jesus, what are you talking about? And so they're against you at that time.
Who's a progressive, by the way.
And they can't stand the idea of people gathering and participating in group function that is not them. They're like little small narcissistic children, basically, who are upset that there is a gathering that's not about what they want it to be about. That's really what's happening here.
Renee Good! Renee Good! Renee Good! Renee Good!
All right, I got to stop this right here.
Hands up, don't shoot.
Hands up, don't shoot is still a thing. Oh, my God.
We're going back to Michael Brown, huh?
I hope they get charged to the fullest extent of the law. They all deserve it. They really do. No matter what you think about what's going on with ICE and all that, it can get complicated. I have a difficult time trying to figure out where I come down on everything, because at the end of the day, it's a government agency. I worry about what it would look like if it were the ATF going around asking people to show proof of like their permission to own a firearm or something like that, or what they have in their house. And so this is the Fed Haters Club. Join gmail.com. That's who we're talking to right now. But this part doesn't even matter. These are people going into private property where people are gathered and they're worshiping. It doesn't even matter what they're doing inside the building. You're going to see a lot of things, and this happens with these laws, like apparently this KKK Act or the FACE Act and all that, where they specifically single out places of worship. And I do believe that anyone who has private property and anyone who is gathered in private property has an equal right to not have people invade their private property, and that there shouldn't be the extra enhanced penalties for it being a place of worship. But that's the way some of these laws are set up, and that's the one that they're going to try to use. So I guess as far as the law goes, it's important that this is a place of worship. If it would have been a car dealership or something like that, or a restaurant or something like that, and they got asked to leave, it's just going to be standard trespassing. I'm like, well, those people that are on that private property don't have the same private property rights as the other people. That's kind of weird. So let's do a little bit more of this video.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? I'm not going to comment. You have no comment. Exactly. You. Renee, good. Renee, good. All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No. Jesus would dine with immigrants. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
These people.
I need blood pressure medication.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Charlie?
It's difficult because I know if I was in that situation, I would have been so frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
When the guy said, "Don't touch me," and I'd be like, "I'm removing you from this building.
Yeah.
You don't belong here."
That idea that like you can go on to someone else's private property, you've been asked to leave, and if someone there touches you, you immediately convert into a victim where you're being assaulted.
If you believe in spiritual warfare, at least for me, he looks and sounds like he's possessed. It's his eyes, that guy's eyes. Now, I don't know why he was filming himself at the same time he was filming other people. He had his little FaceTime thing going.
Yeah.
But that's what it looked and sounded like to me, just evil, some type of evil possession. This guy's asking questions, but he wants no answers. He just keeps going and going and going. Those are the most frustrating people to deal with. It's like I watched a little bit of a debate. I think it was last night. It came across my feed between who's that girl you listen to? Anna?
No.
Oh, you don't? Yeah. You don't listen to her? She's not
I don't
part
listen
of
to anyone
Breaking
named
Points?
Anna. Are you talking about Crystal Ball?
No, sorry. It's another girl. Anyway, I was watching a debate between her.
You're talking about Anna Kasparian,
Yes,
probably.
Anna
Yeah, I don't
Kasparian.
listen to her.
Okay. Anyways, between Anna Kasparian and Pearl, I'm not saying I like either one of those. It was frustrating to watch the debate because Anna Kasparian would not let Pearl get a word in. You know, it wasn't a real debate. It was just like, I'm going to talk over you and interrupt you. So I find those things extremely frustrating in my own personal life, even.
Yeah.
And so I try to imagine myself like in that church and like, what would I do? It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Here's a little bit more frustration for you. This is the 1 minute that's going around of Don Lemon talking to the pastor where he just completely gets like your constitutional rights wrong. He decides to make the point to the pastor that, well, like, oh, this is free speech and free press, and so I can invade your private property and we can prevent you from doing this all we want because that's what freedom of speech is, baby.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please don't push me, but I'm going to lean in and put
Jesus.
my mouth on your mouth.
Well, you know. Here's a did he? Yeah, he just pulled the "don't push me" thing. Oh my God, these people. What is wrong with these people? And it's this kind of stuff that just when this goes viral, I'm like, yeah, okay. Republicans are better. They're just. Give me 4 more years of Trump, baby. Fuck these people. This reminds me why I decided to pull the trigger for Trump. Not literally. Figuratively in the voting booth. When I see this, I'm like, oh my God, screw
you were
these
for
people.
Him.
Huh?
You were for him.
This does, I'm like, man, I disagree with a lot of stuff the right's doing right now, but my God, these people are so much worse. They are so much worse. This is not, you guys think that 2020, 2021, 2022, that's all over? Those people all learned their lesson. They're just waiting.
It's the entitlement, I think, that is the most like narcissistic, astounding thing to me, which, by the way, the entitlement is what, is the baseline for them to act in the way in which they do. All their acts come from the sense of entitlement that I have the right to free speech and protest, which means that therefore I have the right to do whatever I want.
Do it,
including violating your rights.
Yeah, and exercising that right, you take that right away from someone else.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why it comes from entitlement.
Yeah.
I have the right to set your church on fire if I want to because I'm protesting. Like, no, you don't. You don't have a right to enter someone else's building. Now, if you came in actually peacefully, the church would probably welcome you with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get to go in and interrupt people and destroy property or whatever the case is that they did. I don't know if that
doesn't even matter. They don't even care if they destroyed property. You went onto the property. The people who owned the property said, "We don't want you here. You need to leave." They didn't leave. All of them should be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law because private property rights is the foundation of what made America so different from every other place in the world. And it is you own yourself and you own your property. Private property rights is the basis of everything that made this country great in the first place. I don't like the idea of them using specific religious carved out laws because I think I know that we have our First Amendment and specifically talks about religion. And so that's a thing. And so you're able to make those enhanced laws. I just don't think some people have like more of a right to their private property than other people do purely because they're religious, because they're doing something religious in the building. Like if this was a Dungeons and Dragons meetup,
Yeah.
if this was a pool hall or something like that, and they broke into the same thing and the owner said, you guys got to leave this private property, they're not going to be facing up to, 5 years in prison for that. But because people are in there worshiping, the government has decided that's more of a penalty, which is just weird because to me, that's more respecting religion than other people's property rights, but whatever.
It is kind of weird because the First Amendment reads like Congress shall make no law establishing a religion.
Yeah, it doesn't really say that you have extra rights
exactly
if you're religious, but whatever. That's not really the point. Let's see what else is in this video.
This would be understanding and
we're about
love these folks.
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked if you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
unless you're here to
what
worship.
happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship.
Yeah.
We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I think Magoo it is like people mention this a lot, but it deserves to be mentioned. If this were Nick Shirley bringing a mob of people into a mosque to ask about fraud or something and say Biden was in office, they would absolutely use the FACE Act, which covers, awkwardly enough, both abortion clinics and churches specifically. Like extra rights for those places. They would use the FACE Act specifically, and they put those people in prison for 10 years apiece. And that it would be no question. Everyone would be up in arms. No one would be saying, oh, this is free speech. No one would be saying Constitution, whatever. The left would absolutely use that to prosecute them fullest extent of the law. It'd be worse than Jan 6. It'd be like 35 9/11s. It'd be all kinds of stuff if that happens. So
what Don Lemon just said too right there is that just disgusting. I'm always worshiping. I'm a Christian. Like
you say because he's gay?
You will know them by their fruits. That doesn't seem to be the behavior of a Christian.
So let's see. Let's play some of his response because the DOJ is looking into what they can do about this. There's clear violations of the law here. Now, that if you look online, it's being portrayed as if like Don Lemon put together a group of people and led them into they know who runs this. I can't remember what pull-ups, whatever it's called, protest group. They know who the person is that runs that. Don Lemon was with them, and he's claiming now, like, well, I'm just a journalist, and I was with a group of people, and then they went into this building, and so I went in there to journalize with them, and I committed an act of journalism, and I'm sure he made that case for all the people on Jan 6 who went in with their cell phones and recorded what was happening inside the Capitol, for sure.
They were just journalism.
Yeah, journalism. Yeah, here's
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, gosh, what's her name? It's something Hammett, Dillon or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist, there you go. So why don't you talk to the actual person who is in charge of the organization and whose idea it was to have the protest at the church before you start blaming me for stuff.
Oh, dang. He flipped on her pretty quick, because here's another video of him talking to the person that runs the organization about how they were about to go interrupt a church service. No, they didn't say that specifically, but here we go.
White people here, I'm just going to be honest, it's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here. So that is what I could say. I turned our camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here. But you guys thanks for allowing me to be here. Okay, thank you guys.
Okay.
All right. How are you?
Good.
To see you. We're on. We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but thank you. Tell us why you're doing this.
So
this is Nakima.
By the way, they're not saying what it is, what's going on, because they know what they're about to do is illegal. And so they don't want anything like on recording prior, them admitting that they're about to go do an illegal thing. That's why they're not saying it. And he knows that. That's why he tells her when he goes up there with the microphone, we're not saying what we're about to go do, just so you know. And it's just clear as hell that he knows what they're about to go do. Now, I could make that case in court, and they could say that's not enough to put this person in prison. We can find some stuff, though.
Levy Armstrong, she's on the show on Friday.
Levy Armstrong, civil rights attorney, longtime activist here in the community. And, we protest and do activism in all kinds of ways. This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now. We've had a lot of success with the times we have done Operation Pull Up.
Yeah.
After George Floyd was killed, we went to the Police Federation head's home and staged a demonstration there. We also went to the head of the U.S. Marshals from Minnesota after Winston Smith was killed by the U.S. Marshals. We went there after Dante Wright was killed.
Civil rights attorney.
That's great. That's great.
This person has a law degree.
Now, one of the issues here is, I don't know if they've done this before where they went into a private place at all. Not just a church, but anything. And one of the issues here, the reason this keeps happening is because they're not just arresting every single person who does this. I'm serious about it. I don't care. Like, that's a libertarian thing, in my opinion. I don't see any kind of conflict there. Private property rights, you violate someone's private property rights. That's what the hell else is the state for? Why else do we have them but to protect private property rights of citizens? And so you go in there, they need to be arrested. And this has been happening way too many times where no one has been punished for it. And this is just another example of it. We've seen so many examples of this over the years.
So Operation Pull Up.
It was Pull Up. Yeah.
It's successful.
Very successful. Here's another video of him talking.
Which makes
to
sense because they're
Minneapolis.
toddlers.
Yes.
A little bit ago, and did some reconnaissance on the ground. I'm speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we were like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So
I do.
It's like because there's some white people
No,
there?
because there was an American flag.
Oh.
See that American flag right there? He was like,
okay.
oh, man, this must be a Trump rally.
This MAGA. MAGA coded.
Looks very MAGA to me.
like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So
It's like, wait, see that American flag? I think we're at the wrong place.
the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, you can't tell you where they're going.
Anyway.
It's always the people who do nothing wrong that want to hold other people to account.
Yeah. I did like how immediate, like at the end of that thing, he's like, you guys want to talk to someone? Talk to that damn Armstrong bee, the one who organized this thing. This is all her fault. This is Hermit Dillon, not Hammett or whatever he said her name might be.
Look, I mean, we have a presumption of innocence in this country, so I want to preserve my ethical duties here. But let me just say that, he's a journalist. He was a journalist. I don't know what he is now, but journalism is not a badge or a shield that protects you from criminal consequences when you are part of a crime. And I think the videos show how close he was to these folks. I think further evidence will show more information about that. But he clearly knew, and he stated before going into the facility, it's on his own video, what was going to happen there. What was going to happen was a violation of federal law, federal criminal law. And I don't know what to say. I mean, the FACE Act has been out there for more than 30 years, and there were lawyers involved in this so-called protest, and their purpose was to terrorize people of faith in a house of worship. They were targeting a different pastor, not the one seen on camera, who they got information was a ICE supervisor. None of that matters. It's off limits to go into a house of worship to do your little protest. Protests can occur on public property. Protests can occur outside, on a sidewalk, certain sidewalks, not all sidewalks. And this is like basic what you learn in the first year of law school. There's a time, place, and manner restrictions on the First Amendment right of protest, and they were violated here in this case. No question about it. The only question is who was involved, how many were involved, and how many charges are going to be brought here. Those are.
Yeah, it's like Nate and I have a disagreement. I can't just get a group of people go into his house to protest.
No,
the disagreement that we have. It's so insane. Could you imagine if people had that right?
I hope people don't just get stuck on the Don Lemon thing because, okay, he was in there and he might say, well, I followed them in there to do a journalism or whatever. But there's a lot of other people involved with this, and I'm sure that they're going to be focusing a lot on them. They might want to get that Don Lemon scalp, just to get the name in there. That way they can finally say they arrested someone. That's a possibility, but I do expect to see some arrests and some charges from this. It's pretty blatant.
By the way, I know this is pretty localized right now, but if this kind of thing continues, I don't think America can sustain itself.
Oh, we can't.
There's no we have sunk so deep into identity politics that this is not that I worry that violence will soon become an answer.
It is for some people. What we saw in 2020 was way worse than what we're seeing right now. It's not getting that bad yet, but Trump is talking about.
Yeah, but the virus is still there.
It's still
looms.
There. Yeah, it's slightly dormant right now, and it's going to pop back up for sure. And I think the left-wing response to Trump and to Trump's presidency is going to be very bad. And we're not always going to have a Republican in office. I don't even think a Republican will be next, but we'll see. But the response afterwards is going to be swift. And the pendulum is just going to keep swinging harder and harder. And, you know, these people, I watched a bunch of these protest videos. A lot of them they're BLM organizers, you know, George Floyd stuff, defund the police kind of people.
This went back to Michael Brown.
They're
Ferguson.
doing hands up, don't shoot. That's a good point. This doesn't have anything to do with ICE. I'm just telling you. I mean, ICE is just the police force that they're protesting, right? It's the power structure that they're protesting right now. It's like the symbol of oppression and victimization that they're able to protest right now. And that's all it is. This is just the BLM organizers, the BLM activists finding a reason to get back to doing the BLM protests. And right now they're able to use ICE as the example, but they don't care about this.
No.
At all.
What happens is when
some of them do. Sorry, don't paint with a broad brush right now, but you know what I mean.
Here's the thing for the leaders. Let's say when things like this happen, the virality of it. What does that do? Well, that brings fundraising dollars into their organization,
so they can get more houses,
so they can spend more money. Like the civil rights attorney wouldn't be out there doing this if there wasn't a reason for her to be doing this.
Well, she cares about the cause.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. She cares about getting fundraising dollars.
It's probably true.
I can tell.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there was another instance also where people were basically harassing people that were going into another church. I had that video pulled up. We don't have to listen to. We can play a little bit of that. Oh God.
Fuck you fucking traitor! How dare you have a rainbow fucking umbrella, you Nazi bitch! How dare you try to steal that from our people! Fuck you, you Nazi traitor! You
I might listen to that guy's band though. I might want to see what kind of metal band he's in. These. I think you're right. I think these people might be possessed. I think that they're if you don't want to go to a religious route, they're at least possessed by some kind of crazy collectivist narcissistic virus that I hope there's a cure for, but I'm not really sure. The ICE thing, I got to keep thinking on it. I got to keep thinking. We're in a pickle right now. Whether you agree, disagree, whatever, we're in a pickle. I don't think we were built to sustain anywhere between 10 to 20 million people coming into the country in a span of 5 years or whatever amount of time you want to point out. I don't think that we were built. I mean, even if you agree with it and you wanted people to come in, even that's too many people to have come in such a short amount of time, especially if there's a percentage of those people that are going to be on welfare when they come in as well. So you're adding that many people into that system.
Or qualifying for grants or fraud.
Or not even welfare, public school systems, ERs, all kinds of stuff, competing for apartments, all sorts of stuff being dumped into the country at one time. Maybe no common culture, values, stuff like that. There are questions about other countries, like, if you got like the number 1 and number 2 most corrupt countries on planet Earth, probably like add some more questions to the test for people when they're coming over, something like that. I think that's a good question. But even if you agree with the immigration and stuff, it was too much too soon, and you're going to have to remedy that situation somehow. But we are in this position that we're in right now, and now it's got to be dealt with. And while I don't agree with all the tactics that ICE is using, I've seen plenty of videos, even if you're like, oh, that's a one-off, or oh, that's a one-off, or I've seen like 50 different one-offs that I think is too far. I don't like seeing people that have lived here for 20 years who have a job, who got a wife and kids and got an apartment or whatever, haven't committed any crimes. I'd see no point in deporting that person. That is a net negative in deporting. You spent the money to go do it, and you lost someone who was a net positive in the country at the same time. It makes no sense to me at all. This administration's in a pickle trying to figure out how to do it. You got to find people. It's not like they're all just on a list. So like, what do you do? I don't like them going around asking people for their papers, but it's not as if, what do I want Palantir to come in and give us their perfect AI list? Because they're doing that right now too, or they're offering it.
Yeah, if you haven't heard it, Rand Paul kind of released a plan that he has on the Joe Rogan podcast last week. I thought his plan was pretty solid. It mimics Milton Friedman's plan that he talked about in the 80s and 90s, which is basically the only good immigration is illegal immigration. People who don't qualify for benefits, welfare, grants, anything like that. And I think he made some provisions in there that would force people to choose whether or not they wanted to deport and come back legally, or whether they're fine with staying and never, ever getting a chance to be a citizen and vote, as well as not allow non-citizens to qualify Congress to increase seats. So, like, I think there's, like, Rand Paul has a decent plan that kind of satisfies both sides, and I think it's a pretty libertarian position, which is you're here. It's going to be impossible to round all of you up and deport you. So how do we fix the current situation? Well, if you're not a criminal, you can stay if you want to, but you agree that you'll never become a citizen. You can't vote. You get no welfare. You don't qualify for anything. You can stay here and work and raise a family. That's fine. If you want to be a citizen one day, you're going to have to self-deport and then wait your 5 years or whatever it is to try to come back here legally. So you can attain that path to citizenship. And I think that it kind of works all the way around in that particular plan. And I like that plan. It's a good plan.
Can you keep your plan?
Well, if you like your house, you can keep your house.
I've got,
as long as you're okay with not being a citizen.
There's an issue with the Milton Friedman's old line that it really doesn't apply anymore. Like the only good immigration is illegal because they're not eligible for welfare, and that's just not. It's not the case, and so like it doesn't apply anymore. So the states have so many programs open to people where either it's explicitly for people who came here illegally, or they're straight up like don't ask, don't tell kind of policies on all of their programs, and then they backfill the money they spend on that with transfer payments they get from the federal government for those programs afterwards.
They inflate their Medicaid numbers.
And so then obviously the problem here is the welfare system itself. That's the entire problem.
And look, it doesn't mean that these people don't need some help, right? But that's not the job of the government.
It's not the job of the people who give the government their money.
Right. It's the job of you as an individual wanting to help people. It's not, you don't get to tell the state that it's their job to use the threat of violence and cages to force other people to give some money that can go to these people, and then you don't get, and then feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, and most of these people who advocate for these policies don't pay any taxes at all. So yeah, of course they can feel good about it. They're the ones out there saying that they're the ones that are more like Jesus because they're advocating for the policies that allow a mob to use violence to force other people to take care of people, and then through their lips, they're virtuous angels.
Yeah.
Without themselves sacrificing. There are so many stories in the Bible. I mean, Jesus said one of the greatest people that he mentioned, this is a great story, was the woman who gave everything she had, even though it was pennies, essentially. And I'm paraphrasing the story, but Jesus made it a point to say that she will inherit the kingdom of heaven versus like a rich guy who only gives part of what he has, because she sacrificed, like legitimately sacrificed for the needs of others, versus making it a comfortable sacrifice. It's that's the true meaning of being in service to others, giving to those in need from yourself, not advocating for the government and then patting yourself on the back. That's what frustrates me the most.
What if you keep your money and then you create 2 million jobs for people where they all have a chance at making a better life for themselves?
I think that's great too.
But you didn't give every penny that you had. You give no money to charity. but you create 2 million jobs and better lives for a bunch of people.
Jesus talks about that too.
You didn't sacrifice.
Jesus
you got
talks
rich. You got rich the whole time.
Jesus talks about that too.
Yeah.
In the sowing of the seeds parable. You know, the one who went and hid everything and came back with the same amount was worse than the person who invested and lost some. Like it's all covered.
It's all covered.
It's all covered.
It's right there.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Anyway.
I think we're going to get out of here. We got the Greenland thing, but there's no answer on the Greenland thing right now. I think we're starting to rule out military force against Europe. So that's good. A bright side is that Trump might actually end up destroying NATO through this. And maybe let's identify a potential 5D chess move right now through the acquisition of Greenland. We go ahead and destroy NATO itself. Because we end up violating so many articles or whatever. Like that's an interesting idea. And, maybe that's how they should sell it to some people too, because that's not a terrible plan. But no, he's talking about tariffs on all these countries that are against us taking someone else's country. And so we're going to use the economic might of the United States and our economy to try and force someone to sell us their country. It's a bold move. See if it works. I don't exactly like the plan. I think that there is a better chance that we could come up with some kind of a deal where we can put whatever defense assets we want in Greenland. Oh, wait, we already have that. Or where we could maybe decide to get some mineral rights or something. That could be like the New Deal, where we get mineral rights and get ownership of that land or get the leases or whatever. I think that's better, in my opinion. It's essentially the same thing. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. But I think we're gonna in for some fun before we finally get to whatever this deal is going to be. And when it comes to buying Greenland, we don't have a lot of money, really at all. And by the way, people keep bringing up the freaking Louisiana Purchase all the time, which France voluntarily sold to us because they needed money. We only wanted to get the territory around New Orleans so we could have rights to use the port.
Mm-hmm.
And France was like, actually, have we got news for you?
Here's 1 billion acres.
You see that part of that map? We're going to sell you that. And we were like, oh, okay, well, we were only supposed to spend like $10 million and you're wanting 15. I got to go. We're going to do this in the form of a treaty. And then everyone acts like that was it. They didn't go to then they did it in the form of a treaty, and then they went to Congress, and Congress voted on it, and they ratified the treaty, and they allocated the $15 million to pay for it. It was a voluntary transaction. France wanted to do it, and we went to Congress to allocate the money to pay for it. And stop using it as a freaking example for stuff, people. Grok something for 2 seconds, please.
Here's my prediction: we're gonna get Greenland. I don't see any other way.
I'm going to bet against.
You know who's been right and who's been wrong before on this show.
That's true.
But my prediction is somehow, even if it's not full ownership by the United States will control Greenland.
Well, okay. Are you talking about ownership, or that we're going to have control over it, essentially?
We're gonna have have control.
Does it become United States territory?
Yes, we're gonna have control to the point where it's like a Puerto Rico.
Okay,
it is a U.S. territory.
Okay, that's interesting. Are they Republican or Democrat? Because that will determine whether or not I think they should become a state.
I don't know. They're Greenlandic.
And by the way, this just telling all the world leaders out there, this is why you don't snub Trump. That when people said he wanted the Nobel Prize, that was a serious thing. He wanted the Nobel Prize, and he didn't get it.
And so now he doesn't want to be peaceful anymore.
Specifically noted that as one of the he was like, yeah,
That's a legit letter.
I don't need to be peaceful. Turns out you guys think I'm not peaceful.
So let me show you.
Yeah. Let me show you what not peaceful Trump looks like. We're going to start with the tariffs and move on from there.
Which is also childlike, by the way. It's
you got to respect the game a little bit. Like, I hate this whole system, and this. I mean, this is all going to crumble to the ground, and this is just another piece of how it's all going to crumble to the ground. I mean, there's no reason for this to not be seen as an act of aggression by Russia or China, the same way that people, see Russia going after Ukraine or doing the same way we make the argument of Russia taking NATO, moving closer to its borders as a threat or an act of aggression. Like, what we're doing right now is that.
Well, that's the whole point.
But it's not.
The whole point is there's an increase of Russian and Chinese investment into Greenland that the United States cannot allow to happen. And Trump has said there's Chinese and Russian warships and submarines all over the place in the Arctic. This is not a place that they can be. They're too close. That's it. And if that's the case, I think that we're going to find a way to control Greenland.
I'm saying
and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
I think this step will take us closer to a war than not doing it.
What?
I think it's a new step towards a war.
You think NATO is going to go to war with America?
No, not with NATO. With China and Russia.
Oh, well. Yeah, but the threat right now is
Don't worry about NATO. We can take over all those countries for all I care.
The funniest thing to me is the conversation basically is like, we're going to kick the United States out of NATO, and then NATO's going to go to war with the United States. It's like, really? We have more nuclear weapons than all of your countries combined.
Yeah. We spend more money than the world on our military.
You take the entire NATO alliance, and it's like it wouldn't put a dent in what America can do. I just don't.
You know what? If this leads to us ending NATO, I think it could end up being worth it, though. I'll just say that. Because this might end up breaking apart NATO, and that's worth consideration. If that's what we have to do instead of just pulling out. But if this ends up breaking it apart,
can use it as a good excuse.
I'm not. So it's like not all downsides. All right, we got to go.
All right. Well, if y'all enjoyed today's episode, share it around. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to GodHatesFeds.com. Be part of the Fed Haters Club and pick up some merchandise. Visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show. If you do all of that, we'll be back again on Wednesday. Hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.